cover.
The Hell in a Cell concept was first introduced to WWE in 1997 when the legendary Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker squared off in the steel structure. Over the years, there have been some incredible Hell in a Cell matches as well as some iconic moments. However, there have also been some complete duds but which fails have occurred inside the cell. Well, join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 of the worst Hell in a Cell fails and bloopers. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 10, Luke Harper's head bounces off the announce table. And one of the top matches at 2018's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view was the tag team match, which consisted of Daniel Bryan teaming with Reigns to take on Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. Whilst the match was nothing too special, there was a notable spot in the match which could have resulted in some serious injury. In the match, Harper would go for a dive onto Reigns, and this is a move that Harper had done safely a number of times before, and there should have been any issue with the move. However, Harper overshot and went headfirst into the announce table.
Here comes Harper! Look out! Suicide dive right off the announce table!
Luckily, Harper was okay, however he did suffer a massive bruise on his forehead. Number 9, Tim White's injury. The only Hell in a Cell match of 2002 featured Jericho and Triple H settling their heated rivalry inside of the structure at the Judgment Day pay-per-view. One of the most infamous moments in the match featured legendary WWE referee Tim White taking a bump from the ring apron to the side of the cell. Unfortunately, although this spot was planned, White seriously injured his shoulder taking the bump and he was forced to retire from refereeing.
Timmy White got hurt! Tim White is hurt!
White would make a brief return to the role to referee the Christian vs Chris Jericho match at WrestleMania 20, but sadly White would once again injure his shoulder during the final moments of the match, officially ending his career. Number 8, Bayley's Singapore Cane Spot. Bayley made her Hell in a Cell debut at 2020's edition of the pay-per-view. She would defend her SmackDown Women's title against Sasha Banks inside the cell in what would become a Match of the Year candidate. And although the match was acclaimed by many, there was a notable mistake in the match. Bayley would introduce 2 kendo sticks into the match and she would begin to tape 2 of them to create some kind of barrier between the ring apron and the cell itself. Unfortunately, Bayley couldn't seem to tape the 2 sticks together, so she gradually got more and more stressed as the spot went wrong. At one stage, Bayley would even ask the referee for assistance before abandoning the spot entirely.
So sweaty, can you do this for me?
No, I can't do that for you.
Number 7, Mick Foley accidentally counts to 3. At the main event of Hell in a Cell 2018 featured Braun Strowman facing Roman Reigns for the Universal title inside the cell. To make the match extra special, WWE decided to implement Mick Foley, who was one of the most famous Hell in a Cell competitors of all time, to the match as a special guest referee. Our fans noticed during the match that Foley made a huge mistake and it should have actually led to Braun winning the Universal title. During the match, Braun would hit Reigns with a chokeslam and Foley accidentally counted to 3. This was covered up in commentary for the match by being labelled as a very close 2 count. Yes, a very, very close 2 count being a 3. Number 6, The Undertaker hangs the Big Boss Man. The Undertaker's Hell in a Cell match with Big Boss Man at WrestleMania 15 is often forgot about when discussing The Undertaker's legendary WrestleMania win streak. Now, the main reason for this is because the match was one of the worst matches in either man's respective careers, and it's a match that failed to live up to the expectations that prior Hell in a Cell matches had set. The match just fell completely flat and it was just under 10 minutes in length, which made it one of the shortest Hell in a Cell matches of all time. Following the match, WWE would conduct the infamous spot which featured the Boss Man being hanged. However, in reality, fans could clearly see that Boss Man was attached to a harness and that he was completely fine. Okay, we know they're not gonna really do it, but still, the illusion was broken. Number 5, Roman Reigns can't throw the steel steps. The first ever I Quit Hell in a Cell match took place last year as Roman Reigns took on Jey Uso for the Universal title. The match was well received by fans, but there was a certain spot in the match which could have resulted in Reigns being seriously injured. Towards the close of the match, Reigns attempted to throw the steel steps over the top rope to cause more damage to Jey. However, the steps would bounce back and go towards Reigns. Luckily, Reigns wasn't too close in proximity of the landing, or else he could have suffered a serious head injury. Interestingly, this slip-up from Reigns has yet to be edited off the WWE Network, which is traditional common practice for fails of this nature. Number 4, Alberto Del Rio's mistake against Randy Orton. The WWE Champions just began to punch each other in an attempt to work out what to do next. It was truly awful. It was even worse by JBL on commentary simply going, "Wow, what was that?" which drew even more attention to the blunder. Number 3, Hell in a Cell 2018 ends in a no contest. Now, as we mentioned earlier in the video, the main event of Hell in a Cell in 2018 featured Roman Reigns defending the Universal title against Braun Strowman. Unfortunately, the finish of the match was universally panned as the match finished in a no contest. Hell in a Cell is supposed to end feuds and guarantee clean finishes, but the WWE decided to go another route for the Braun vs Reigns matchup. Number 2, The Fiend vs Seth Rollins, the worst ending ever. And without question, the most controversial Hell in a Cell match of all time took place in 2019. Seth Rollins and The Fiend collided inside the cell for the Universal title in a match which some fans to this day call one of the worst booking decisions in WWE history. The match itself mainly consisted of The Fiend tormenting the Universal Champion in the cell before the babyface Rollins went on a comeback and began to hit his finisher, the curb stomp, a total of 11 times, but never even managed to get a 2 count. Eventually, Rollins would begin to use weapons before finally threatening to hit The Fiend over the head with a giant sledgehammer. The referee then decided to stop the match and rule it a